Alright guys, in this video I want to talk about the stages of sleep and how sleep works in general, because I don't think I've actually mentioned that before. I just want to explain like a very basic background information about how sleep cycles and stages work and the best way of using that to learn how to lucid dream and sleep better. So in an average night's sleep, okay, this is assuming, by the way, we're going to take our example, we're going to come up with an example name, I don't know. Let's say Johnny, right? So let's say Johnny sleeps 8 hours a day, 8 to 9 hours a day. So he goes to bed at 10, he wakes up at 6 a.m, which is a fairly standard sleep pattern, sleep schedule. It's not too late going to bed, but it's also early enough that you can get ready for work and stuff. So let's say 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. is the sleep duration. That's how long Johnny's going to sleep. So within that time, you'll have about five sleep stages. Sleep cycles. Within that time, you'll have 5 sleep cycles. Now, a sleep cycle is a 90-minute period consisting of 5 sleep stages. So there's a lot of terminology here that sometimes gets mixed up, and even myself, you know, in previous videos, I sometimes mix these things up because it's so easy to do. You know, these words are fairly synonymous with each other, but they do mean different things. So let me explain. A sleep cycle is what we refer to as that chunk of 90 minutes, that 90-minute chunk of time within which there are sleep stages. So if you think of the cycle as a big wheel, right, and then the stages are the little spokes on the wheel. So you've got stage 1, stage 2, 3, 4, 5. So your average night's sleep, let's say 8 hours, is made up of 5 sleep cycles. So 5 chunks of 90 minutes, roughly. Okay, the timings might not add up perfectly. Sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's more. You know, the human body is not an exact thing. You know, sometimes we'll sleep for more or less time. It also depends on interruptions and things like that. But just for argument's sake, let's just assume 5 90-minute chunks, which are your sleep cycles. Within each cycle, you have 5 sleep stages. The first stage is non-REM sleep, non-REM sleep. Essentially, this is just your body starting to transition from being awake to being asleep. Okay, now if you're woken up during this stage of sleep, most people when they're woken up during this stage will not even feel like they've been asleep at all. They might just say, oh, well, my eyes were just closed. Okay, but they actually were starting to fall asleep, and it is technically a stage of sleep. But most people will just think, oh, well, I was just closing my eyes, I was just resting. Okay, they won't say, oh, I was in a deep sleep. So this is a transition period. This is also where, when you do the wild technique, you keep your mind awake during this non-REM stage of sleep in order to slip into a lucid dream. But that's for another video. So the first stage, non-REM sleep. Okay, and this lasts for anywhere between 5 to 10, 15 minutes. It really depends on the person. I'm actually not going to go into the timings of these things, just because it does vary massively from person to person, and you know, there's a lot of different factors that will influence this. Like, say if you're sleep deprived, let's say you've not been having enough sleep during the week, then on day 7, say for example, you might jump straight into deep sleep, and you might miss the first 3 stages of sleep. This is very, very common. It's known as a sleep debt. And it's essentially your body just trying to catch up on the lost deep sleep that you've missed. So I'm not going to go into timings, but stage 1 is a non-REM sleep transition period. Not really a proper stage of sleep, but it's like the transition between being awake and being asleep. Stage 2. Stage 2 is essentially just like a continuation of stage 1. It's where your sleep paralysis will kick in. You know, your body will start to paralyze your muscles, and you will you will be asleep during this stage, and this is where your body starts to slow down. It's things like metabolism. You know, your core temperature will cool down to get ready for the deeper stages of sleep, and you'll start to be more relaxed, especially if this is the first sleep cycle of the night. So when you first go to sleep, this is where your body will start to bring the temperature down, bring the heart rate, the blood pressure, bring it all down to a low, relaxed, deep state of relaxation. That's stage 2. Now, stages 3 and 4 are where things get interesting. This is where, arguably these are the most important stages of sleep, along with REM sleep, but mainly the 3 and 4. What happens here is your body starts to regenerate. You start to have a lot of things happen within your body like you'll start to regenerate your energy, things like this. You'll be very deeply asleep at this point. If you are woken up during these sleep stages, you will feel very groggy. Okay, you will feel fatigued, annoyed, anxious, sad, angry, whatever. Not a good idea to wake yourself or or be woken up during stages 3 and 4. This is also when your body releases growth hormone. Okay, so let's say if you work out or you're at the gym or something like this, you may have heard it being said that most of the muscle growth happens when you're asleep, and this is very true. During stages 3 and 4, your body releases growth hormone. It fixes its muscles, it repairs things, it digests your food, it does all these things for you. It does all these things for you during those stages. Very important stages of your sleep. Very, very important. And then we move on to my favourite stage, which is stage 5. Stage 5 is your REM sleep. This is your rapid eye movement sleep. And the reason it's called that is because your eyes underneath your eyelids during this stage they're darting about all over the place. Okay, they're looking in random corners of your eyes. We don't really know the exact reason for that. Some people say it's because you're looking where you are looking in your dream, and there is some truth to that, but that's not always the case. Okay, that doesn't always happen for everyone. So this has also been called paradoxical sleep. The reason it's called paradoxical sleep is because your brain, this should be the stage where you're the most relaxed, but your brain is actually sort of hyperactive at this point. You've got a lot of hormones going through your body related to awareness, consciousness, alertness, that sort of thing. And this is why it's the perfect time to have a lucid dream. And so what happens is when you get to the end of your REM sleep, you will sort of cycle back again to the start of the next sleep cycle. So you start again in non-REM sleep, the light transition period that I said about before. This doesn't mean that you wake up every 90 minutes. What happens is it's a fluid transition. So you will go from having REM sleep after the first sleep cycle, you go from having REM sleep at the end smoothly into having non-REM sleep, where you're transitioning. You're not really transitioning the second time, you're already asleep. You're just going into the next cycle. However, it is a good time, and it is a very common time to wake up during that time. When you've just had your REM sleep, most people wake up during those periods of time, especially towards the end of the night, which we'll get into in a second. That cycle now essentially repeats itself 5 to 6 times, depending on how long you sleep for and if you're interrupted, until you wake up. Very simple, right? Very, very simple. I hope you're following along so far. Now, what happens is most of those sleep stages, most of them stay the same throughout the night. The only difference, the only changes there are, as you get closer to waking up, the last 2 sleep cycles, the last hour and a half, the last 3 hours of your sleep, the last 2 sleep stages, during the last 3 hours of your sleep, the last 2 sleep cycles, your REM sleep gets progressively longer during those last few hours of your sleep. That is why it's a perfect time to lucid dream. Okay, so the last few hours of your sleep are the ideal time to lucid dream. Your hormones are in the perfect position, right? You've got serotonin slowly rising in your bloodstream to make way for you waking up, to get your consciousness and to prepare your mind to be alert and awake for the day. But at the same time, because you've had 3 or 4 sleep cycles where you've had your restorative deep sleep, your body is very relaxed. Your body temperature is still fairly low, and you're still able to have these vivid dreams, making it the perfect time to lucid dream. Now, most dreams happen during REM sleep, which is why it's the most important time to target is your last few hours of your REM sleep, which happens during the early hours of the morning, which is why you may have heard of the technique wake back to bed. Essentially what you're doing is you're waking yourself up during that time to then go back to sleep and have a lucid dream. Now that is how the sleep cycles, sleep stages, that's how they all work. In order to learn more about how to best target those different stages and how to best utilize them for lucid dreaming, I'm going to save that for another video because I just want to. I think this video has gone on long enough, and the coffee on my shelf there has been waiting for me for a good few minutes now, so I'm going to cut it there. Hopefully you understand, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. This video and this channel was supported by my Patreon followers. Please consider giving just $1 a month to support this channel, or just click the links in the description. You'll find links to various lucid dreaming products, articles, techniques and tutorials. If you did enjoy this video, please click the notification bell and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Why are you still watching this? You should have clicked one of my related videos by now, right? Or subscribed or gone onto my website or something like that.